The morning light filtered softly through the curtains of our cozy Denver townhouse, but inside, something felt off. I tried to shake the unease, telling myself it was just nerves. I had a presentation today that could change everything. Jason, my husband of 5 years, was unusually quiet as he prepared coffee in the kitchen. He always made the first cup, a ritual that usually brought comfort. But today, the air smelled different. Not just coffee, there was an odd chemical tang I couldn't place. "Hi, I'm Emily Carter, 29 years old. I thought I had a perfect life, married to Jason, living near family, building my career in marketing." But that morning shattered the illusion I'd been clinging to. I reached out for the coffee Jason handed me. The aroma hit me, a sharp, almost sickly sweetness beneath the bitter roast. I blinked, trying to convince myself I was imagining it. "Are you sure you made it right?" I asked, voice trembling just a little. Jason smiled, a bit too confidently. "Of course, just added a little vanilla syrup, to celebrate your big day." But my gut told a different story. Something wasn't right. Just then, Sarah popped her head into the kitchen, bright, casual, unaware of the tension hanging in the air. "Morning, Em. I'm grabbing my coffee. Want some?" I nodded, though the lump in my throat tightened. That's when the wild idea struck me, an impulsive gamble. What if I swapped my coffee with hers? I waited until Sarah turned away, then quietly switched our mugs. It felt like a small rebellion, a test to see if my senses were deceiving me. Minutes later, Jason took a sip of what he thought was untouched coffee, and his expression shifted from confusion to alarm. His hand trembled. He coughed, struggling to steady himself. My heart pounded. What was in that coffee? Why did Jason suddenly look so afraid? Little did I know that moment was just the first thread unraveling a dark web of secrets, lies, and betrayal. Just minutes after Jason took a sip of his coffee and started coughing, I was left stunned and shaken. My heart pounded fiercely and my mind raced with questions. What just happened? Who's behind this? Curiosity mixed with fear, making it impossible to calm down or look away. Something wasn't right, and I needed answers. Without Jason noticing, I picked up his phone from the counter. Luckily, it was unlocked. My fingers trembled as I opened his messages. What I found shattered me. These weren't innocent texts, but clear evidence of betrayal and conspiracy. The messages revealed secret plans between Jason and Sarah, clearly designed to destroy me. The tone was mocking, cruel, and cold. "She'll never see what's coming. I've set everything up. We just have to wait. When her project fails, no one will give her a second chance." Each line felt like a dagger twisting deeper into my heart. As I read through the messages, I couldn't help but wonder, why would Jason do this? Was it jealousy, fear of my success, or something darker I hadn't yet discovered? I knew one thing for sure: I couldn't let this lie stay hidden. But how could I fight back? Shock gave way to burning anger, but it was tangled with profound disappointment. Disappointment in the man I once trusted, and in the family I thought loved me. Tears welled up, but I forced myself to stay strong. This was only the beginning of a long, painful fight. Amidst the storm of emotions, a clear thought sparked in my mind. I needed to expose this betrayal to someone who could help me. I reached out to a trusted lawyer, an expert in family and corporate law, and shared every detail. It was time to prepare for the battle ahead. As I set the phone down, I made a promise to myself. I would take control this time. This betrayal would not break me. But little did I know, even darker challenges awaited, and that cursed cup of coffee was only the beginning of a merciless war. The morning of the big presentation was thick with tension. I knew I had to stay focused, but every time I glanced at Jason, something felt off. Forced smiles, trembling hands, and a silence heavier than words filled the room. From the moment I stepped into the meeting room, I felt eyes on me. Every colleague's glance, every faltering smile from Jason pressed down harder on my shoulders. My heart raced, but I refused to let anyone see me falter. Session started, and Jason, usually our anchor, began stumbling. His words slurred, slides got mixed up, and long, awkward pauses filled the room. Several times he seemed about to say something, but suddenly shut down. My worry grew, but I couldn't react just yet. I had to stay strong and wait for the right moment. What looked like a disaster was about to become my opportunity. In my mind, I decided that if Jason couldn't continue, I would step in immediately. I focused, rehearsing every detail mentally. I was ready to prove I was the real driving force behind this business. The room's attention shifted fully to me. What happens next when Emily takes control? The presentation had barely begun when Jason's condition worsened. His words slurred more heavily and his hands shook uncontrollably. The room grew quiet as colleagues exchanged worried glances. It was clear something was very wrong. Jason tried to continue, but he stumbled over his sentences and fumbled with the slides. At one point, he nearly knocked over his laptop. The tension in the room was palpable. I watched him struggle, my heart racing. This was my moment. If I didn't act now, everything I had worked for could fall apart. Taking a deep breath, I stood up and addressed the room. "Let me take it from here." My voice was steady, confident, exactly what this moment demanded. As I took control, the atmosphere shifted. I spoke clearly and with authority, walking everyone through the presentation with precision and passion. Every slide, every point reinforced my role as the driving force behind our business. People leaned in, engaged and impressed. The whispers of doubt began to fade, replaced by nods of approval. Jason sat down, defeated and pale, unable to hide the fear in his eyes. After the presentation, whispers spread quickly. The truth was beginning to surface. The hidden cracks in our marriage and business were no longer secrets. I had taken back control, not just of the meeting, but of my life. The battle was far from over, but this victory was mine. In the days that followed, the truth spread like wildfire. Jason's betrayal was no longer hidden behind closed doors or whispered secrets. His actions, his attempt to sabotage me, were exposed to everyone who mattered. The company's board was forced to act. Jason was removed from his position, stripped of the trust he once had. It was a fall from grace that he couldn't deny or escape. Meanwhile, I stepped up and took full control of the business. With clarity and determination, I led the company forward, breaking past limits we never thought possible. The support from colleagues and friends grew stronger every day. I was no longer just a victim. I was a leader, a force to be reckoned with. That cursed cup of coffee, the one that started it all, became a symbol of my awakening. The moment I stopped being powerless and reclaimed my life. Though the wounds ran deep, I found strength in every challenge. This was my story of survival, resilience, and ultimate triumph. And now, the future was mine to shape. The battle was over, but my journey was just beginning. Taking back control wasn't just about business. It was about reclaiming my identity, my strength, and my future. Every scar left by Jason's betrayal became a reminder of how far I'd come, not how far I'd fallen. I rebuilt my life brick by brick, turning pain into power and doubt into unshakable confidence. The company thrived under my leadership, surpassing every expectation. But the real victory was personal. I was no longer the woman who tolerated lies and deception. I was a warrior, unstoppable and unapologetic. Now I have to ask you, if you discovered the person you trusted most was plotting against you, what would you do? Would you walk away quietly or fight back with everything you've got? Leave a comment below and share your story, because sometimes the darkest betrayals lead to the brightest awakenings. If you believe in rising stronger after the fall, hit that like button and subscribe for more true stories of courage and survival. Remember, your power is real and your story matters.